Last week we got a sequel to an Arnold movie. This week we get a remake to an Arnold movie, and it makes sense to do a readaptation of The Running Man because the '87 film did not follow the book at all. So now we can get a more faithful adaptation, and the book was set in 2025, so it is the perfect time to do it. And I was excited because it's Edgar Wright. I like all of his movies. So to start off with the things I liked about The Running Man, Glenn Powell is really good in the lead role. His character is extremely angry, living in this society where they can't even afford medicine for their sick daughter, doing whatever he can to get by, ends up entering this game show, The Running Man, where he has to just be completely against the system, running for his life at all times. Like, he's really fun, he's really entertaining, and having an adaptation of this story in 2025 is very topical. Like, these ideas of basically a television network running the country, the wealth disparity between the rich and the poor, the propaganda, a lot of that is even more relevant today because of the existence of AI. There are things in this movie where they can just easily, quickly edit videos to make it look like somebody did or said things that they did not do, and that in our world is genuinely getting to be a scary thing. It's becoming so easy to misinform people, and people are so preoccupied just trying to actually get by that they don't always have the time to do all of the fact-checking, and a lot of the times they just don't care. The movie is really a commentary on the rich people turning the lower classes against each other. These are the TV shows that are entertainment. Look at this guy. He's like poor. We're gonna tell you that he's some kind of criminal even though he's probably not. You should hate him. He should be the guy that you're rooting against. We're giving you an enemy to hate so that you don't look up at our ivory towers and realize that we're the ones who need to be toppled. That is what has always gone down in human history and still is today. They will point at all of these other people to try to assign them as enemies just to distract you from the fact that they're your enemy. It doesn't matter that they can on the whim make a luxury purchase that they don't need that is more expensive than the life-saving surgery that somebody might need and can't afford. Hate this other guy instead. So the movie really hammers those messages home as you have this game show all about these people running for their lives, being hunted down. And in the middle of all that, you have other good performances too. Coleman Domingo is really good as the game show host. Josh Brolin is like the executive of the network. Michael Cera's in there in a really fun role, reuniting with Edgar Wright after all of this time. There are a few classic Edgar Wright visual gags that I appreciated. His humor does come through at times. It's a good looking movie. Music was pretty good. This is just a very easy character to root for and an easy world to root against. Some of my issues arise with the pacing. This contest is 30 days long, and in the book, I believe we only actually get like 8 or 9 days. Whereas in the movie, we go much further than that. And by the time we get the executives like really falling in love with Glenn Powell and loving what he's doing for their ratings, I didn't quite buy it as much, because in the book, he breaks the record for the longest time spent on The Running Man. In the movie, by the time they're already gassing him up, he has not broken the record, not even close. So it felt a little bit off there. Like, it was fine because you understand how his personality is appealing to people and how they're all about those ratings, but they could have done a little bit more to sell me on that, especially if you are going to make the movie last longer and you're going to skip entire days as if nothing really happened in those days. Well, then you kind of could have shortened the whole thing a little bit. In addition to that, there's another character that's introduced really late in the movie who is essentially the Maria Conchita Alonso character, if you've seen the '87 film. One good change that movie made was introducing her at the beginning, whereas in the book and in this, she's introduced very late. And in the movie here, they kind of try to give her an arc, and I didn't care at all. She's introduced so late. She has such little screen time. Any kind of journey you're trying to sell me with her, I don't buy it, and I don't care. So there are issues where the pacing is definitely off. Glenn Powell's motivation is all about his family. He's got a wife, played by Jamie Lawson, and they got a little daughter. They're not characters. They just kind of exist in the background as props to be his motivation, whatever. But he brings them up so often. The movie so hammers you over the head. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my daughter. My family, my daughter. Flashing back to images of his wife and his daughter as if we're gonna fucking forget. And it's like, oh my God. I get it. It's the most generic motivation in the world, but it works for the story. Just shut up about it. Stop acting like I'm an idiot and trying to remind me every 2 seconds that he has a baby. I know he has a baby. I've been watching the movie the whole time. In addition to the police force and random people who try to kill Glenn Powell, the main task force are these 5 guys called Hunters, and they're just kind of like random dudes. I'm not asking for them to be as eccentric as they were in the Schwarzenegger film, but give them something. There was one scene where I thought the Hunters were involved in an incident, and it was only after the scene was over I found out that it wasn't even them, it was just a bunch of random goons. It was indistinguishable. They are also just random goons. Outside of the leader who wears a mask so you can at least tell when it's him, they're all just random guys. They don't really have personality. They don't really seem to be like especially skilled and especially scary. So what's the point? Like, why try to distinguish this specific group of 5 if they're not actually distinguishable? Just make it the numbers, make it the police force with one lead guy in a mask. Don't try to sell me on the fact that there are 5 special hunters when they're just randos. The only other thing I was mixed on is the ending. It's the kind of story that can be hard to end satisfactorily. How dark do you go? How far do you take people being willing to protest and turn against this government? Like, it's about the Running Man. It's about that period of time where he's on the show. How far do you take it past that? And there were parts of it that I thought were fine. There were parts of it that I thought were a little cheesy, which kind of goes back to just like the constant flashbacks to his wife and daughter. Like, you're trying to hammer this in and be so sincere and so corny about it, when there are other parts of the movie that are very openly funny and satirical. Like, there's a part where Michael Cera starts telling like a sentimental backstory, and the music that starts playing and just the way Michael Cera's delivering the lines tells you that it's kind of meant to be a goof. It's kind of meant to be satire on these types of backstories that you get from stories like this. But sometimes it feels like it's treating it so sincerely. So even tonally, it feels a little confused at times. There are definitely some issues holding this back, but I really like Glenn Powell. I really like this world and the story and a lot of the action that we get. So I had a mostly fun time, but I wish Edgar Wright would kind of be Edgar Wright again. You know, I like Baby Driver and Last Night in Soho, but like gradually, starting with those 2 movies, it's kind of felt like he's moving further and further away from what made him as a director and what so many people associated him with. And I don't know if that's just a choice. He just wanted to move on and try out different things. I don't know if he forgot how, but when I hear Edgar Wright Running Man, especially when it comes to the action, there are certain things that I imagine in my head that the guy who made Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim can do with the camera to sell some of these exciting sequences. And then you get the action in this, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But it's Edgar Wright. It shouldn't be fine. It should be much better than fine. And so there's a large part of me that's like, yeah, but man, Edgar, what happened? Like, from what I know of you, this could have been way better, and that's a shame. I still had fun. I will still say that I like all of Edgar Wright's movies, but I just am not as excited for them as I used to be. Overall, I'd say this was decent. It's very topical, it has a very good lead actor, and it's a good readaptation considering the original film is completely different. This stands on its own as a totally different thing. The original is just the one that I would probably go back to more often because it's really, really stupid, but it's cheesy fun. Like, it's completely ridiculous. It didn't even really make any sense in the original movie that it was called The Running Man. Like, they were just in an arena with one stalker. The only reason they ended up running is because they killed the stalker, which wasn't supposed to happen. But that movie is just so ridiculous. It has so much weird personality. It's fun. That's the one that I'm gonna think of when I think of movie versions of The Running Man, but this one is still a good adaptation of the book, even though it does fumble in many areas. It's not nearly as good as it could have been. It's decent. But those are all my thoughts. Let me know yours on this, the book, the original Schwarzenegger film. Agree, disagree, whatever you think, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I didn't get a review out for Predator last week because I had some shit going on, but it was awesome. Thought it was really great. It's my second favorite Predator film. Thank you so much once again. Hope to see you next time. subscribe, all that shit, you know.